Hi, I'm Allie and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be cleaning out my makeup basket and makeup caddy of the products that I used during the past 2 weeks and swapping them in for some new and old products from my current makeup collection. Let's get started with the 2 items here that didn't fit into either container. First is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Cucumber 3-in-1 Primer Water. I actually use this as both a primer and setting spray. I'm not the biggest fan of the scent of this product. I also don't think it does a very good job with setting my makeup, but I would say I probably have at least 2/3 of this left. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible and definitely not a repurchase. The other item here I have outside of the containers is my La Mer Soft Fluid Longwear Foundation, and this is in the shade Ivory 02, which I believe is the second lightest shade in this line. I did find that it oxidized quite a bit, so that's why I had to go with such a light shade, but after the oxidation, it does suit my skin perfectly, and I really like the finish of the foundation. It doesn't quite stave off the oiliness, but really I have yet to find a foundation that really does that for me, but definitely a keeper. Let's focus on these set of jars next. Now in here and in my makeup caddy, I do have a combination of Project Pan items as well, so those items will be staying. So let's see, new products here. I used 2 primers this month, or for the past 2 weeks, the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer and the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. I enjoy using both of these. I was hoping that I would have finished this little sample of the Hourglass Primer since I do have a full-size backup on hand, but you really need such a small amount of both primers. They do go a long way. I enjoy using both of them, and I will continue to use both of them. I've also been testing out this Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. This is a sample I received from Nordstrom in the shade 1W2 Sand. I do like the finish of the foundation. I'm not quite sure that this foundation also lives up to its claims of being good for oily to combination skin, and I do have combination skin. But I do like the finish. I think that if I were to be more consistent in blotting my skin throughout the day, which I don't really have time to do when I'm at work, it probably would look better. I'm on the fence on whether I will purchase the full size of this or not, but I'll continue to use a sample until it's finished, and this will actually stay in my makeup basket for now. For setting powder, I was using the Hourglass Mineral Veil Translucent Setting Powder. I do enjoy this powder. I do also like that there's kind of a controlled way of getting the powder out of the product. There's a little H that's etched in there. So this is one of my cleaner powders, and I will continue to use this. I was testing out 2 new brow products. I got these from Stylevana a few months ago. These are the Etude House Drawing Eyebrows, and unfortunately, I could not find anything in English, at least, that said what the shade name was. One is dark brown, so that's this top one, and the other one was just brown. So I decided to leave the sticker on the brown one just so I could remember what shade it was between the 2. So these have a thicker end on one side and the spoolie on the other. I think both of them will take some getting used to for me. I'm usually more used to a pointed brow pencil, but I did like both of them. I think probably the dark brown worked out a little bit better for my hair color than the brown, but I did enjoy using both of them, and I did use both of them along with my Anastasia brow powder duo. This will stay in my makeup basket. It's just one of my everyday makeup products, and I think with using this, it really helped to make the brown color match more to my hair color or my brow color. So these will be staying, but I won't be keeping them in my basket. The NARS and the Neutrogena are my Project Pan, but this has been in my makeup basket for a couple of months now. I do not enjoy this mascara. I think it probably has something to do with the wand. It's an uneven wand. You can see one end has the longer edges than the other. It's very clumpy, smudges a lot. I'm not sure if this is past the 3-month expiration, but I just really hate using it, so I will be throwing this away. And on to the next drawer. So in this drawer, I can see right away I have some things that I'd like to get rid of. First being these two mascaras. I've been using the Milk Kush mascara and the Laura Mercier Full Blown Volume Mascara for a few months now. And while I do enjoy using both of them, their time has come. They've both started to get really clumpy and smudging under my eyes. So it's time to let go of these and bring in a new mascara this month, or this makeup basket round. I see a few more mascara products to get rid of. Those are my two Chanel mascara samples. This is the Chanel Le Base Mascara Volume and Care Lash Primer and the Le Volume de Chanel Mascara in Noir Black. I got these both with a gift with purchase with a previous Chanel purchase in store at Nordstrom. And one of my biggest pet peeves or gripes about the Chanel Volume and Lash Primer is that it has a white wand. And so all of the eyeshadow transfer onto my eyelids or my lashes is so noticeable, and it just makes this look dirty and so unappealing to use. And when you contrast that with my Lancome Sills Booster lash primer, this one has a black wand, and even though the primer itself is white, I don't think it looks as dirty as the Chanel mascara lash primer, so I do prefer to use this one more. And I actually do think that the Lancome Sills Booster XL is more effective than the Chanel lash primer as well. So this will stay in there. Chanel, it's time to go. And the Le Volume de Chanel mascara was okay. I did find that it did tend to smudge a little bit. I did like the brush though, the wand. I like how thick it was, and I do think that it helped with the volume of my lashes. It didn't really hold a curl, but I don't think I will be purchasing a full-size version of this when there are so many other good drugstore mascaras out there. So these two will be thrown away. And let's see, I did pull in two eyeliners this makeup basket round. I have my Milani Stay Put waterproof eyeliner in Stay with Slate and my Joa Make Her Jealous gel eyeliner, and this was in brown. I do generally prefer brown or gray mascaras to black mascaras, which I think can tend to look a little bit harsh on me, and my favorites are gel eyeliners. Unfortunately, these two do tend to smudge. They're definitely not my holy grail eyeliners. I do enjoy them. They don't have the thinnest tips, and I do definitely enjoy a very thin eyeliner line. I don't think either of them can be sharpened. So maybe this Joa one. No, that's not a sharpener. So they're okay, not my favorites, but I'll continue to use them until they're done. But they won't be staying in this next makeup basket round, so I'll put these away and move on to the last drawer. Picking out lip products every makeup basket is probably one of my favorite things to do. So let's take out the new selections for this makeup basket, do some swatches. Everything else is from Project Pan, so we'll move that on the side. So first I have this Buxom Plump Line lip liner. This is in the shade Dolly Danger. And I used it both as a lip liner and an all-over lip color. I love these kind of mauvey rose tone shades. I did find when I used it as an all-over lip color, it was a little bit drying. It definitely helped to put a balm or a gloss over it, and then it was okay. Next, I have the Stila Color Balm Liquid, and this is in the shade Sadie. This has a nice kind of minty smell. It kind of reminds me of Tic Tacs. there is a look at the shade, a nice neutral, everyday, my lips but better color. And it is quite comfortable on the lips. And even though it is a color balm lipstick, I do find that with my dry lips, I prefer to use a balm or gloss over it as well. Next is this Maybelline Color Sensational lipstick in the shade Rum Riche. And this is just such a fall color lipstick. I just love that shade. It's also quite comfortable on the lips. I'm not sure what kind of formula the Color Sensational products are, but it does look to be quite creamy or satiny. So definitely not a matte, and I do enjoy this formula. Love the color as well. The last lipstick I pulled into my makeup basket was this Physicians Formula Healthy Lip Velvet Finish Liquid Lipstick, and this is in the shade Bear With Me. One of my favorite things about this lip product is the wand. I love how it kind of curves in so you can get a really precise line. I also enjoy the color, but I'm not the biggest fan of the actual product. It does tend to be very drying on my lips. I can't wear it alone. I definitely need a lip balm or a lip gloss over top to help keep my lips moisturized while I'm using it. But because I like the color so much, this will be staying in my makeup collection. Okay, so those are all the lip products that I used this past round, and let's move on to my makeup caddy. My makeup caddy holds most of my larger makeup products or things that just don't quite fit into my little basket of drawers. For this round, I selected the LA Girl Pro Matte HD Longwear Matte Foundation. I have the shade Natural, which is probably a little too light for me. This does come with a nice pump. I'm not the biggest fan of this foundation so far. I did mix in my Project Pan foundation to kind of darken up the shade a little bit, but I just didn't really like the way it felt on my skin. I will say, however, that I will continue to test this out. I was using something in my skincare that was really drying out my skin, and so I felt like this foundation really clung to my dry patches, so I don't feel like I gave it a true wear test. So I'll keep this in, keep playing around with it for at least one more round. I also used my L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Concealer. This is in the shade 02 Creamy Natural. And it's probably one of my darker concealers. It's pretty yellow, but I think it did a really good job of concealing my dark under eye circles. So I was kind of surprised it being such a dark color, but I did enjoy using this. Other face products, I was testing out this Physicians Formula Healthy Powder, and I kind of use it as a setting powder over the LA Girl foundation. So here's what it looks like. It is nice and soft. I'm thinking in the future I will try to use it on its own as a powder foundation and see if that works out better. So I will continue to play around with this. I was also testing out this Shiseido bronzer. This is in the shade 2 Medium. It did come with a little brush that I did not use. And here's a look at the product. I liked that the bronzer wasn't too orangey on me. I'm not sure how much it showed up on my skin tone, but I did enjoy using it, and I will continue to play around with it. The other Shiseido product I was testing out this makeup basket was the Shiseido Whipped Minimalist Whipped Powder Blush. This is in the shade Sonoya 01. I did opt to keep this little stopper in place. I'm not sure if that's required. So I just use the tiniest bit. And I found that my favorite way to apply it is to kind of dot it onto the apples of my cheeks And rather than blending it in right away, I'll actually just let it sit in place for a couple of seconds and then blend it out with my fingers as opposed to a stippling brush similar to my other cream blushes. But I think it gives such a nice soft wash of color. You could definitely build it up if you use more, but I do find that a little goes a long way. And considering getting other colors of this, I really like it. The other blush I was playing around with this round was this Ofra Madison Miller blush. This is in the shade All You Need Is Love. It's a nice peach blush, my favorite. And this was one of the blushes that I couldn't help reaching for. I'm actually going to keep it in this next round. I enjoy using it so much, I want to keep using it. So this will actually stay in. And let's see, I did have one face palette I pulled in. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Glowing Pretty Skin palette. I picked this up during last year's Nordstrom anniversary sale. So it does come with a nice mirror. There's a setting powder, bronzer, 2 blushes, and 2 highlighter shades. One of my biggest complaints of this product was the size of the pans. It's pretty hard to get a brush in here, especially for my bronzer or the setting powder. I didn't mind so much with the blushes and the highlights because I do like to mix those 2 shades for the blushes and even for the highlighter, but that was kind of a bummer. I also don't think that the bronzer shows up very well for me. It's a pretty light bronzer, but I do like it for the setting powder, the blushes, and the highlights, so I will keep this in my collection. The 2 eyeshadow palettes I pulled in this month were both from Smashbox. This is the Iconic Eyes palette, and this is the Cover Shot Petal Metal Eye palette. Now between the 2, I enjoyed the Petal Metal palette far more than the Iconic Eyes palette. Unfortunately, this one did come broken. I purchased this at Ross. The shades are just beautiful. I love the shimmers. There are 2 matte shades in here, but you can get a really nice pigmented look. I really enjoyed this product, much more so than the Iconic Eyes palette. And it could be just that this is such an old palette, but I found that the shades were very chalky. I didn't realize that they were actually all kind of shimmer shades. So it was hard to build a complete look with it, I felt. Actually, those swatches don't look half bad. I wonder if I didn't give it a fair shot. I tried to use this on the first day of doing my makeup after filming my video, and I just didn't like how they felt on my eyes, so I just never reached for it again. But I don't know, those swatches don't look half bad. Okay, I will have to pull this in another round, give it one more shot. The final new product I was testing out this round was this Smashbox highlighter palette. This is the Spotlight palette in gold. This has 3 goldeny highlights included, and I enjoyed all of them. I was worried that this shade in particular might be a little too glittery for me, but it wasn't. And I found that I do seem to prefer more golden highlights over pink highlights lately, so I will keep this around for another round. And now that everything left is part of my everyday makeup basket or my project pan, we'll move on to selecting new products to restock my makeup basket and my makeup caddy for the next 2 weeks. Let's start off in one of my new makeup drawers. This contains most of my new face products. I have primers, foundations, setting sprays, blushes, bronzers, highlighters in this drawer. So since I'm experiencing some dry patches, I'm thinking that instead of going with a foundation, I want to pick up maybe a tinted moisturizer or a BB cream. And I don't have very many new products like that. except for this It Cosmetics Bye Bye Foundation Full Coverage Moisturizer. This is in the shade Light. I believe this came with one of my recent Ipsy Glam Bag Pluses. So let's pull this out. And I'm guessing that since it's a full coverage moisturizer, I probably won't need a primer for this. But just in case, I will pick one of the primers from my current makeup drawers. I'm thinking I also want to choose my bronzer and my blush from my current makeup drawer, but since I really enjoyed the Ofra blush that I used in my last makeup basket round, I'm thinking I want to pull one of my Ofra highlighters. So I have two. I have the Ofra for Nikki Tutorials highlighter in Everglow, and this has 3 different shades. And I also have the Rodeo Drive highlighter. So I actually think that those two are the same shade. So let's go with this one, which gives me a little more variety with highlighters. And we'll move on to the next drawer. I'm going to switch things up a little bit this week, and instead of going into my new makeup drawer of eye and lip products, I pulled out this bin where I keep all of my new eyeshadow palettes. They're a little too large to fit into one of my drawers, so I just keep them in this separate container. And what I've been thinking about is pulling a Laura Mercier eyeshadow palette. I have this one that I picked up from Nordstrom Rack a few months ago. This is the Eye Art Artist Palette. And I also have this Extreme Neutrals palette. And I think I must have gotten this at least a year ago from Nordstrom. I have the Laura Mercier Parisian Nudes palette on my wish list, but maybe one of these will be similar enough that I won't need to go out and purchase that palette. So let's see. I'll move the bin off to the side. So here is the Eye Art Artist Palette. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And then here's a look at the Extreme Neutrals palette. So I think that between these two palettes, the Eye Artistry palette looks a little more like the Parisian Nudes palette. So I think that I will play around with this palette this round and keep this palette for another round. Okay, and with this selected, we'll move on to my current makeup drawers. This is my base makeup drawer containing all of my face products. I have primers, foundations, BB creams, concealers, powders, setting sprays, all in this drawer. So I already picked out the Bye Bye Foundation Full Coverage Moisturizer, but I think I would like a primer just in case I need one. I'm not anticipating needing one. Actually don't have that many to choose from. How about this? This is a Tarte Quench Hydrating Primer. This might be nice since, again, I am experiencing those dry patches. So let's pull this one out. And for concealer, I definitely want something that's a little more hydrating. Maybe this Bye Bye Undereye will work nicely with the Bye Bye Foundation. This concealer is in the shade Light Medium. And then I want to pick out a powder, something I haven't used in a while. Got this number 7 translucent powder. It's been a couple of months since I played around with this, so let's pull this out this round. And I think that's everything I need from this drawer, so let's move on to the next drawer. I already have the Ofra highlighter and blush picked out, so I do need a new bronzer. How about this Tarte Park Avenue Princess bronzer? I think this came as a free gift with purchase with a Macy's Tarte order. So I'll put this one, and I already have a couple of blushes in my project pan, but maybe I'll pull this as well. This is the NYX Sweet Cheeks Blush Palette. I believe this came in Ipsy Glam Bag Plus. I've played around with it a little using them as eyeshadows, but let's try focusing on using them as blushes this time around. And I don't need another highlighter, so we'll move on to the next drawer. I'm thinking that this round I want to go with a smaller eyeshadow palette, just because I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes I'm currently working on in project pans. Actually, you know, it's been a while since I played around with this MAC Naughty Girl palette. I got this during last year's Nordstrom anniversary sale. So here's what the palette looks like. It comes with a couple of eyeshadow shades plus a highlighter shade. So I think this will work out very nicely this round. And onto lips and eye products. I do need to select some new brow products. And I don't have that many open ones that I'm working on. You know, I think I'm actually on the tail end of this Trish McEvoy eyebrow product. That's all that I have left. So let's pull it this round and see if I can finish this up within the next 2 weeks. That I also want to pull maybe a purpley eyeliner. How about this Clinique Demi Grape eyeliner? I don't think I enjoyed it that much last time, but let's give it another go and see if it fares any better this round. I'll also be needing a new mascara since I just got rid of all of the mascaras in my current makeup drawers. So I have all of my little mascara samples or trial sizes in this little container. Let's try one that I haven't tried before. You know, since I'm already using that Trish McEvoy brow pencil, maybe let's try this Trish McEvoy High Volume Mascara in black. So let's pull that one and select some lip products. I don't want to be too overloaded with lip products, so maybe I'll just choose a total of 3 lipsticks to play around with this round. So let's see. Maybe I will go with another mini. A bunch of these Bare Minerals. And I think these are the nude shades. Actually, these are my newer Essence lipsticks. Let's try one of these. Actually, they look pretty similar. You can tell I totally have a makeup, a lipstick color preference. I think this one looks a little darker. This looks a little more browny. Let's go with this one. This is the Velvet Matte Lipstick in the shade Greedy Coffee. I'll also pull this Bobbi Brown Uber Rose Luxe Lip Color. I think this came in an Ipsy bag. And then we'll pick a lipstick from some of my current lipsticks. So from these lipsticks, I think I want to pick out more of a darker fall shade. And I'm so happy to see this Revlon Super Lustrous lipstick in Blushing Nude. This is in the cream formula. Revlon was actually on sale at CVS last week, and I didn't remember having this. I almost picked it up again. The only reason I didn't was because it was kind of smooshed onto the top of the cap, and so that kind of gave me pause. But otherwise, I totally would have purchased it again. So I'm glad to see this here, and let's pull this one out. And now that I have everything selected, we'll put everything into my makeup jars and caddy. Okay, so here's my makeup basket and caddy for the next 2 weeks. Thanks so much for stopping by, and hope to see you again in one of my future videos. Bye!